we're here for a minor tutorial on the removal and replacement of BMW tapered wheel bearings. BMW uses these roughly from 1955 to 69 with the /2s, and then from 69 to I think 77 with the /5, /6, /7. Basically anything that had a drum brake took the full tapered bearing stack. When they came out with the disc brakes, they still use tapered bearings, but the setup for the stack is different. So we're going to show you how to do the full stack, and this is the hub we're working on, is the /2 hub. So, and then this one, to show you the difference, this is a /5 hub. Basically you have to pull the bearing retaining. This, on the /5, these bolts go through the hubcap's removed. But you take this off and this bearing retainer here comes off. On the /6 are cap screws. So this is a tool here. This is from CycleWorks, and what you can do is you can put it on there. They also have a bolt that comes through from the other side that will screw into this, that will hold it against this, because sometimes these things are stuck on there really well. So you can just get a hammer here. Okay. Oh, hold on. And there's the bearing. We're going to take that, put it back in there. A wavy washer. I'm going to save that. Okay. Now, here's one of what they call the top hat spacers, named obviously because it looks like a little top hat. There's one on each side. This is what the bearing goes against and presses against the bearing, the tapered bearing inner race. Okay, we're going to put that on there. Okay. Now, to remove this, you take your axle, you insert it through the other side, like so. And then you have to take up this space here. There's a nipple. You can buy it at any hardware store. It's roughly, depending on if you leave the top hat spacers on, this one's 4 inches, but it would be too short. These two here are sold by CycleWorks, but you can get so this one is 4.5 inches. And we'll put that on there, and you can see that there is space to catch the threads. Okay, now we're going to run this up. The reason to do this is basically you remove the bearing stack as a unit. Okay, so there you have it. Okay, now we're ready. The biggest difference is /2 hubs are iron. The /5, the /6, and after that are aluminum. With the aluminum, you have to heat the hub in order to remove the stack. Otherwise, you'll destroy the bearing where the race interferes with the aluminum. It's an interference fit. If you don't heat it and you drive it out cold, you have a good chance of destroying the hub. This last shoes are a little bit more forgiving, but I still think it's a good idea. According to the Barrington guide, they say they heat it up to roughly about 250 degrees. So they say use a hot plate. We're going to use MAP gas and see if we can run it up to that. So easy way to do this. Okay. Have my assistant here glove up. They say heat them up until your stick bounces on it. This we're going to heat up to roughly about 250. We'll see how that does. Up to about 187. Good there. And just pick it up and put it on the press there. Okay. Now the whole thing is when you get it out, this far side bearing race is going to have to fit through where the other brace was. So you basically want to, you don't want it to cock over. Here, pick it up, Dave. Oh, I gotta tighten that back up some more. A little thin. Okay. Okay, turn it over. I just want to pop it back and get it. Make sure we're started. Okay. Flip it over again. And flip it back. Okay. Okay, flip it over again. Okay. And there's your bearing stack. Okay. Now, we're going to take a short break and clean this up, and then we'll show you the separate components on how it relates to adjusting the preload. Okay. Okay, come on over here, Doug. Shoot down on this. Okay, here's some of the stuff that we're going to be using. Basically, these are the two bearings. 3204 is a bigger bearing that goes on the /2. The 3203, that's a little bit smaller bearing that goes on the /5 and after. They're both tapered wheel bearings. Okay, here's the tool I showed you. Here's another tool that does the same thing, just for the /2 hub nuts. This comes, you can buy different tips. These different tips you can see are a little bit smaller. These will work on the /6 and later drum brake hubs. Disc brake hubs. There are 4. Some of them have nuts and some of them have the duals. Some of them have these. So, that's it over here. These are the wedding bands, commonly known, I guess, so nomenclature. As you can see here, this is a /2. It's noticeably larger than the /5 and later. Now, if you have a friend, Joe Steeberl, who has access to a CNC machine, it's very easy to spin you off a set of these things. These are all nominally, go in a range of sizes. This is a universal wedding band kit sold by CycleWorks. This is a /2 set, and yeah, find it somewhere. Where's the wedding band? It comes with a single wedding band and then a set of shims. If the wedding band is too big, you can always lap it on a piece of plate glass that has sandpaper on it, like so, to remove it. But if it's too small, you either go to a bigger wedding band or else you can add these shims up. Now these are the /2. As you can see, they're bigger, but these are shims made by a guy. These are made by Dwayne Asherman. I think he's still selling them. We'll send you. You'll see a link for his website, and they come in 2,000s, 3,000s, and 4,000s increments. So if your wedding band is too small, you can add this. You can also shave a little bit off of this, but that's getting into a little bit more information that you want to know. Let's see. Okay. Here's everything that's cleaned up. We're not using the old bearings. If you're reusing your bearings, I recommend that when you take it apart, take off one, clean it, get all the old grease out of it, and then with the race clean, put the inner bearing in, feel it, roll it, if it feels smooth and you look and there's no noticeable impact marks on the race, there's no rust streaks and so forth, they should be fine. Do that to both bearings. We're not doing that on this one. We have new bearings, so we're skipping that point. Keep the bearings and the race together. Don't mix them up. The other thing is that here we have two top hat spacers. You can see that, hey, one's taller. That goes on the bearing retainer side because it has to go through the seal, then through the retainer. This goes on the off side. That's the skinny one. So here we have it. Now, we're going to put this thing together. Okay, we're going to put the outer top hat spacer on it, which you don't have to do, but okay. Then the bearing race. Inner bearing race. Outer bearing race. This is the inner. This goes in like this. Now on this, you can see that there's a recess. That is where the wedding band goes. That goes right in like that. Make sure everything's nice and clean so it all fits together. Make sure that you don't feel any weird shit in there. Okay, that goes down on that. The outer race goes around it. The outer race goes like this. The inner race goes down. And then we'll see if we got a wheel tube that, oh, nope, too short. So we'll put the other top hat spacer on it. Now it fits. Okay. Washer. Basically, you do this test with everything clean and maybe a light film of oil on the bearings. Okay. You don't over torque it, you just give it, snug it up. Okay. Dwayne Asherman has what he calls shake the wheel test. Bob Fletcher, aka Snowbum, on his site as a scale way of testing it using a scale. I use the finger pressure. You put both thumbs on it and see if it moves. What that wedding band does is it holds the two inner races apart so they do not bottom out on the outer races when you tighten up the axle. You need a little bit of play there. Otherwise you will burn the bearings and you will heat. In the later aluminum hubs, you can heat that outer race up where it will spin in the hub. And then you need a new hub. So basically that's what we're trying to do. Now this one with the new bearings is very tight. So let's take it apart. That out. Bearing. Outer race. Okay. Now, okay, I just want to make a side note. This is a Sacrificial Axle. For the Slash 2, I got an old Ural axle. You can buy them, I think, $20 brand new. Because then I don't have to worry about clamping this thing in the vise. Don't have to worry about beating on it a little bit extravagantly. So that's what I do. So we have the wedding band where I think it should be. You put a moderate pressure on it, basically what your pressure, the torque value that you put on your rear axle, which is not very much because basically the pinch bolt holds your axle. Now, my test is I take two thumbs and I put them against the inner spacer. And with moderate pressure, you don't, if you really have to push on it, it's too tight. If it just slides over, you know, like this, it's too loose. It's basically a judgment call. So I basically figure if it's moderate pressure and the stack slides, that preload is good enough. I don't like to say error, but if you're going to error on anything, I'd say a little loose rather than a little tight. Okay, so that I think is where we want to be right there. Now, you take it apart. Put everything down in the way it goes on. That's the outer spacer. The inner spacer with the wedding ring. I didn't have a big enough. Now, if you're going to use the universal wedding ring with the shims, you basically stack the shims up. Start with the wedding band itself. It's too loose. You keep adding the shims. You can mic it and see how much you add each time until you get where it is. When you put it together, make sure that the shims are in the bottom underneath the wedding band. That way, if somebody takes it apart, there's a good... Otherwise, when it comes apart, those shims will stick to the bearing and there's a chance they will be lost. Word to the wise. Okay. So, top hat spacer. Some people reverse it and put it in from the outside of the seal. It really doesn't matter. I kind of like to keep them like this so they go in as a unit because they don't fall out. So we put that top hat spacer down. I put the big end up, but your call. Now, time to put the proctologist gloves on.
Yep.
Okay. Or if you okay, we got the top hat spacer on there. Bearing. Wheel bearing grease. If you have the cup charger, whatever, however you want to do it, I do it like this. You just sit there and you put a little bit in the palm of your hand, and what you want to do is try to drive that grease up into the rollers. And turn it around, do it the other way. Don't worry about it. You can't put too much grease in. Okay, that looks like it's pretty charged. Okay. This is the outer bearing, first bearing. It goes, so the taper is like this. Okay. Slide that down. Here's the race. A little grease around the outer race. That goes on top. I just put a light smear of grease around the wedding band just for corrosion. Okay, put that in. Okay, wedding band up. Just smear the outside of this. Laser down. on this. Outer race goes down first, and then we okay, then we drop that down on there. A little grease around the top hat spacer. Like I say, I put the big part down, but it's your call, your bike. Okay, so get Nurse Dave here to unglove me. Okay. Okay, now we put it together. Again, just putting just enough pressure on it to hold the stack together. Okay, and then you want to make sure that the inner race
I see an edit coming. I see an edit coming.
okay.
If you put in the wrong wedding band.
Okay, you want that so it's in line with the outer bearings. Snug it up. Okay. Take it out. Put it in the baggie. Keep your wife happy. Put it in the freezer. Okay, flip it over and put it on there. Okay. Heat is your friend, as the Germans say. Okay. Won't take long. Those things they heat up. But we're gonna take it. Nice thing about being in Illinois in January, you just put the hub outside and it cools down. Dave? This is a greasing tool for the far side bearing. You can get this at Cycle Works. Comes in 2 different sizes. This is a /5 and later. It's noticeably bigger for the /2. This is to, when you have the wheel off, you can put this in. Hopefully you modified the center part that you pull it out, put this in, hooks up to the end of the grease gun, give it a few pumps, it stops, give it a few pumps, and hopefully force some grease into that far side bearing. With the aluminum hubs, I think rule of thumb is you don't want to take them apart unless you have to. Say replace the bearings and or whatever. I recommend that if it's a new bike to you and you don't know the history of it, that yes, you should take the bearing stack out to inspect it, make sure the bearings are good, check the preload, re-grease them, put them back for peace of mind. After that, the near side bearing can be taken out, you can R&R it. If you pull the center piece with the wedding band in it, this can go in the other side and you can grease it. And you should be able to get by for quite a while. These bearings are extremely robust for what they're used for. With proper maintenance, you know, you'll never wear them out. The only way they wear out is if they've been misadjusted. Pressure wash your bike at the car wash and drive water into the bearings. And not maintained. If they're maintained, set up properly, they should not go bad. So go on Snowbum's site, Dwayne Asherman's site for a thorough overview of what is entailed with this, and then CycleWorks site for any tools. He also handles all the bearings that you might need, and also the seals and gaskets. So, good luck. Don't burn your fingers.